Hey there, and welcome to the Ladies with Tradies podcast. This podcast is all about you, cracking men and women who are running tradie businesses and juggling it all in love, life, and business. Whether you're just starting out or you're big and smashing it, maybe feeling stuck, frustrated, or burnt out, we've got you covered. We share all there is to know in creating not just a successful business, but more importantly, an awesome life. Make sure you subscribe, leave us a glowing review so you don't miss any future episodes. Let's grab a cuppa or hit up that coffee drive-through and let's get into it. Okie doke, welcome to all of you ladies with tradies to another podcast episode and an early feature in season 2 actually. So that's a pretty exciting thing. Really pumped to have Ed Ross here from Trademutt, and we're going to talk all things Trademutt, the service that these guys provide and how that can really support business owners in Ladies with Tradies and beyond. So welcome, Ed. Good to have you.
Kate, happy Monday.
Very exciting to have you here today, especially on the back of a very exciting release of the TED Talk that your dear mate Dan did last week. So a bit of a flourish of activity for you.
Yeah, no, it's been great to finally get it out to the world. Actually, we were waiting so long for it to come back edited because it happened in November last year.
Yeah.
So good to get it out there and all succinct and shareable. So that's been great.
Nah, it's a really good job. So, Ed, I don't want to steal the thunder here. Tell us a bit of your story. Who's the bloke behind the brand? You as a tradie, all that kind of stuff. Hit us with it.
Yeah, cool. So, Ed Ross, one of the co-founders of Trademutt and TIACS. I did a mature age carpentry apprenticeship, started in 2014. Never really wanted to get into the trades. It just sort of happened, weirdly enough, and sort of got stuck with it and kept doing it. Met business partner and best mate Dan on a job site at the end of 2014. Same day, we started working with the same builder on the same day. And as I said, I was just wanting to do some labour work really for this bloke, and then by the end of the first week I'd been signed up for a mature age apprenticeship. So went and did that, and then Dan and I, obviously the two new blokes, who were lumped together, and I'd come from working in the territory and I'd sort of been in leadership roles beforehand, so I'd been managing people, and then coming back to the bottom of the pile was a bit of a weird process for me to handle at that sort of 21, 22-year-old age. And then I was in the deep end, and obviously I've always been very keen to learn, and Dan was someone that had a lot of knowledge, and I suppose it was a bit of a rarity too to find someone that actually was willing to give up some time and teach along the way. Most other tradies I did my apprenticeship with weren't really forthcoming in information. They were all a bit, do it like this, and if you stuff it up, well then you get hammered. But Dan was very much, lead along and do it like this, which was great. So obviously hung off everything that he said and followed him around like a lamb. So it was great. And we just spent a lot of time on site talking bullshit and just trying to get through the day as well. And we were talking about different business ideas and things we'd do if we, won the lotto, or if we could do anything, what would it be? And to be honest, starting a building company always scared us. Everyone that we spoke to in like the residential building game, no one ever seemed very happy. Life always seemed pretty shit house, and we were like, well, we don't really want anything to do with this. We were doing a lot of cash jobs on weekends just to sort of line the pockets. And Dan and I'd had an idea for workwear and doing something in that space. And then tragically, Dan lost a close mate to suicide at the end of 2015, and it was sort of our first direct and indirect experience sort of with suicide. And we looked at the landscape, realised that we didn't know anything about, suicide, anxiety, depression, mental health and illness. And we just started to investigate that and found out that we were sort of in the top percentile in percentage, in chances of taking their own life as young men. So we thought, shit, this isn't good. We need to do something about this. And most of the stuff in the landscape really didn't speak to us. It was all a bit dark, a bit gloomy, a bit hard to access, and it wasn't really relatable and available really. So we just thought, let's do something about it. Already had the idea for the workwear, learn about social enterprise, profit for purpose. Next minute we'd launched Trademutt, and 5 and a bit years later, here we are. So that's pretty much it in a two-minute succinct window.
Beautiful, Ed. Thank you. And it's interesting, you talk about people's exposure to suicide and mental health, and it's one of those things that lurks in the shadows, and we don't want it to be that way, because so many people are impacted by these challenges. But traditionally it's getting better through guys like you getting out and about with it. But tradies just don't really talk about it. Like you said, there's not that overt conversation that happens. So it's really exciting what you guys do at Trademutt and TIACS, which I want to hear more about shortly. But yeah, having that direct impact through Dan's mate, I guess, what was that like coming to the job site, working alongside Dan after that event? Was it pretty confronting for you, or what was your experience?
Yeah, well, back at it now, thinking back at it, it was very much just like, what can I do to sort of, take Dan's mind off it, really. It was sort of, steering away from it. And I suppose we had no idea how to handle it. Didn't know who to go and talk to. Not that we ever probably thought about going and talking to anyone about it, to be honest. It was more just, spending time and being around him and knowing that he was, he had support from me and, the rest of the people on the job site. But, looking back, it was just, we were just trying to navigate it the best that we could. And now it's sort of, just trying to allow people to understand that, sadly these things are happening, but we want to try and, stem the flow and get in front of it and have these conversations on a more regular basis as an early intervention piece rather than sort of last cause. So I think it's really starting to, the landscape's definitely changing for sure.
Yeah, thank goodness for the better. So tell us about Trademutt and TIACS for the people who aren't quite sure and haven't seen your Larry shirts just yet.
Yeah, okay. So Trademutt, we're a social impact workwear company by tradies for tradies. So as I said, started in 2018 by Dan and myself, and we make a range of loud, funky work shirts to help start a conversation about mental health, and as we say, make an invisible issue impossible to ignore. So signature look is very bright and funky and loud. We're sort of, working on a Funky Shirt Fridays as sort of a weekly activation, but people wear our shirts every day of the week. And then TIACS is a text and call service to mental health counsellors Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So it was started by Dan and I. We launched on the 8th of June, 2020. And it was sort of our next step in regards to where our money is going to be donated when we finally, made profit with Trademutt, where we're going to donate 50% of those profits. And then B, it was controlling the outcome of that, which is ensuring that people had access to early intervention mental health counselling. So we, didn't already have enough on our hands. We thought we better launch our own charity as well, because we didn't really want to tick a box. We wanted to make sure we were controlling our outcomes and that we were making impact in the space. And I suppose the thing that, we saw was that there was such a large gap between early intervention and then crisis support. Peer-to-peer conversations are obviously happening with our shirts, but when someone wanted to go and see a counsellor or a psychologist, how do they see one? How can they afford to see one? Where do they go? And we just wanted to remove those physical and financial barriers that had existed, so people could access the same counsellor ongoing through text and call. So launched that in 2020, and we've had over 16,000 people through in 2 and a bit years, which is pretty cool.
Oh, it's huge, mate. And that has been in the 5 years that we've existed at Ladies with Tradies, there has been that gap. So if any of the fellas have said, or we've identified, because we're pretty close with these business owners after working with them week on week, and hearing their challenges and struggles, and the question would be, well, where do I go? And you'd say, well, hit up your GP, they'll do a mental health plan. But the wait sometimes between when you can go to talk to someone, and generally by the time you're seeing it, people are pretty far down the hole, and that's shit. And so if you do have that conversation, then you've identified in a mate, or they've identified with you, hey, do you think it might be time to have a chat? That closing that gap, I just love that you guys do that, and that you're Australia wide too, because this was the other challenge I found before you existed was, where do I send these blokes? Because this state only allows this to happen, and that state only allows this, and you've got to pay the gap between this and this if you go to that psychologist, and it was all just too bloody messy. So huge gratitude from businesses like ours for businesses like yours, because It just means that we can say, oh, just hit up this company and they're gonna be there for you. And that ongoing support with the same person is huge, because yes, you'll get that with a paid psychologist, but generally if you do the Lifeline thing or all those other great services that we all love and appreciate, you're talking to a different person every time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they're a call center type model. So we're definitely trying to get into that early intervention. And when people are having a shit, a couple of weeks or a few days, they can reach out and start their journey with us early on. So yeah.
Very beautiful. Love it. So what do you reckon is the greatest challenge then? You guys get out and about a lot, and anyone who doesn't follow your socials should, because it's a load of fun. And I think the Gimpy Muster's got the most discussions in your world ever, which is pretty cool. But you're out and about where the tradies are at, and what are you seeing out there are the biggest challenges as far as having these conversations? So TIACS, for people who aren't sure, it stands for This is a Conversation Starter, which is across the back of the Trademutt shirts. What are you hearing from them, or what are you seeing that you're like, here's some of the reasons that they just don't talk?
I think the challenge is getting through to business owners and leaders in organisations to really put their hand up and make sure that they're reaching out and getting help when they need it, and also telling their staff and everyone else at work about what they've gone through, or what they're going through, and how they're supporting themselves, or what they have done. Basically, I think the vulnerability piece from a head down, like a top down perspective, is probably the most valuable next step. And that's obviously the main sort of push in Dan's TED talk around that, get help, tell your mates about it. I think that the thing that is disconnected at the moment is that most organizations are just getting employees to do it, managers aren't getting involved, or whatever that is. But it needs to be holistic and from the top down in regards to being vulnerable and open. It'd be good if the Prime Minister or the CEO of BHP or someone came out and spoke about the struggles that they've been through or going through, and how they're dealing with it, and that it's a normal thing to go through. I think that's probably the biggest challenge is getting leaders they're getting on board, but they're not getting on board at the full capacity. So we're just looking to be a bit more vulnerable, I think.
And normalizing too, that we all have patches where it's a bit of a battle, and that the internal dialogue might be a bit shitty, it might be wearing you down, and that can be because of external factors or internal factors. And I think I mentioned in an email when we were back and forth, I've been hit by it in the last 6 months pretty significantly. But the thing is, so many people function like they're still functioning through their mental health. And so it's like, well, but you're functioning, and so many people go, but there's nothing wrong. Like, what have I got to whinge about? Or yes, cash flow pressures are the hugest thing that we hear from our clients, is that cash flow is the thing that weighs on them so heavily. And that's when the really negative narrative can happen. I'm not good enough. I mustn't deserve to be successful, or I'm not worth charging that amount of money to that type of client, or, it can be pretty tough. But I think you've nailed it there. And what I love about, this top-down approach is leaders having to talk about their own experiences, current or past. It makes a huge difference. But it's a bit awkward for people when you start talking about it, when you seem like the front man or the front woman. And I've even experienced that myself, and talking quite openly, recent diagnosis of depression, working through it, getting all the help, doing all the right things. But people are like, hang on, how can that happen to you? I love that. We've got to stand up as leaders, and most of the people who will be listening to this in our world, they are the leaders of their little businesses or big and small businesses, and they just got to say, this is my story, and totally and own it. It'll be it's a big opportunity.
Yeah, a step forward for sure. And I suppose that's what, Dan and I try and, explain to our team, like we see our own mental health professionals. I actually haven't seen my psych this year yet, but I was only thinking this morning that I should book in as a bit of a checkup. but it's those sorts of things. It's just like, hey, look, this is what we're doing. We've struggled at different times, and being transparent with the team. It's like, hey, look, we're taking a day off, or we've even launched the 4-day work week simply because we were like, well, we've just been burning ourselves out, Dan and I. We don't want our team to burn out. What lifestyle do we want with our business, and what life do we want to live? And let's have everyone across that as well. You know what I mean? So there's a range of factors that people need to look at to improve, mental well-being for themselves, but also their organisation, because I think that there's too many people that forget the importance of, good staff and the well-being of themselves and them as well. So, we're getting there.
Yeah, for sure. And, it is that considering about, well, how can we do it differently? I love the 4-day work week concept just as one way of looking at it. And I think we've got to challenge societal norms in the trades industry around what does a work week look like, and what does supporting the little ecosystem that comes with a tradie as he enters your business, and has he got kids, has he got his own challenges, what are the things he loves doing, or he or she, what do they love doing outside of work? How can you harness their creativity, get them doing the things that spark joy in them, I suppose, to make sure that it just doesn't feel like eat, sleep, work, repeat all the time. That certainly helps. So tell me about what you mentioned, that you and Dan check in. We call it in one of our programs a check up from the neck up. What do you guys do as far, like you talked about going to see psych? I know I'm actively in psychology at the moment myself. We do maintenance on our cars every 10,000, 15,000 clicks. We've got to do the same for our own mental health. How's it turned up for you through your life? So any challenges that you've had with mental health?
Yeah, I suppose the big thing for me is I'm very a pretty strict routine type operator. So it's just like getting in a good routine. The 4-day work week's been a big one. Obviously, the implementation of that's been really good. Like gym, spending more quality time with my wife. So do that every morning, go to the gym together. I've got the ice bars going at the moment. So I've been doing that for about 3.5 months. So that's been really good. So I do one of them every morning. And then everything else is just, sort of self-care, like spending a lot more money and time on my sleep. So, sort of supplementing for that and making sure that I'm getting at least sort of 7.5 to 8.5 hours every night, which has been, really beneficial. Doing a lot more reading. So I spend a lot more time doing personal development than sitting on the phone. I know I've had social media off my phone now for, God, it'd have to be close to 2.5, 3 years. I haven't had social media on my phone. The other one I've got on is LinkedIn, and it's solely just from a business purpose. But I haven't had Facebook or Instagram. I don't even have a password to Facebook or Instagram anymore, which is great. Just spending quality time outside and doing things with mates, and sort of also scheduling in things that are sort of non-negotiables for me to miss. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a mad Rabbitoh supporter, so I never try and organise an event or go anywhere. Like, I want to be home to watch Souths or go to the game or whatever like that. So they're sorts of things that are a bit non-negotiable, and also just saying no.
Yeah, that's huge too, saying no. We're good bloke syndrome's a pretty big thing in trades industry. We say to the fellas, I can feel a little bit of that coming on here. You're saying yes and prostituting yourself out for time and no money to bloody everybody. So saying no is huge, and educating people on how to be firm and set their own boundaries will help in this space too. So how do you know if you're kind of getting a little bit wobbly on it? Like, what are the things that start tapping you on the shoulder that I probably need to go and have a
Mine would be, motivation, if I'm not feeling motivated, energy, like if I'm low on energy, those sorts of things. And then it's sort of, the feeling of just wanting to spend some time on my own just to reset. It's probably like, right, I need to have a day or a half day, just chill out, in bed, have a nap, catch up on some sleep, or you just veg out on the couch as well, like those sorts of days. So it's just sort of being a bit more in tune with your body and your mind, I suppose, and those triggers and actually spending the time to recover. You know what I mean? I think is one. And the other
And
thing is strict on holidays too. Like I'm pretty strict on taking at least 2 weeks every 6 months. So yeah, they're sort of non-negotiables as well.
the rules of the game, and it's making those things okay, because there's this perception around rest that is really shitty out there. That's, oh, well, there's no time for that. I'm not prioritizing making it an important thing to rest and recover from the mental load that comes with running a business. You gotta have a chop out here and there and give yourself one.
Yeah, totally agree.
So tell us, what's the process like if one of our gents sort of hits you guys up? What are they, or women? What are they likely to come across?
Through to TIACS, if they were calling TIACS. Yeah, so they basically, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So call through or send a text. Then we'll, respond via text or, obviously answer the phone call. If we are, fully on the line when someone calls our triage services, we'll call back. So, no one gets missed. Everyone gets called back. And then, basically the triage process happens. It's, your name, location, reason for calling, what brings you here, and then scheduling you in that suits you and one of our counsellors to a booking. And then we'll, start that process. So we'll give you a call at the time of your appointment, and then basically take you on a journey from point A of, you need us to point B of hopefully we've got you to a place where you're comfortable, confident, and well-informed and educated on being better. And you can, continue on. And then if you wanted to come back and start again, you can do that. Or if you want to be referred on to somewhere else, we can support with that as well. So we're just a really good start point for everyone on their mental health journey, basically.
That's brilliant. And because it is a lonely place in business, again, context of the people that we work with generally is business owners. So it's good to know that there's somebody there. And I find that this narrative runs in that evening space for the blokes, all the early hours of the morning. We've had tradies tell us that I keep waking up at 2 a.m. and it feels like there's this pressure on my chest, and like straight away we know. And knowing that there's a service where they might be doing a quote in their friggin' office at 8 o'clock at night, just flipping their wig, and it just, like, to know that they can just send a text. It just feels, because text, feels a little less, I can do it and I can put it out there and I can hit send. That's a really beautiful way, I think, for people to, like, a soft entry, and they're not going to get missed. So I really love that you guys do that, because that's also the way that people operate nowadays. I'm a bit too scared to ring, but I'll flick a text, no drama, especially if I'm feeling a bit vulnerable. So I'm really glad for that. And it's great to know that there's that service at those times. So if you are listening and you're hearing anything in what Ed and I are saying resonate, just bloody pick up the phone, use Google. Everybody knows what to do. You'll find the boys' service easy enough.
Yeah, for sure.
So on your shirts, you've got the "You Will Never Walk Alone" embroidered, which is, it's just in the lettering. It can be a lonely place, I just mentioned, for tradies. And, we work hard at Ladies with Tradies to be there for them, to get them to reach out for support, because they are knocked around by financial hardship. And at the moment, shit's getting a bit real, and that's challenging. What can we do, I suppose? Like, what thoughts we as a business, but also those people listening, to ensure that people are getting support from a business perspective? Because this is, we've got you guys covering off on the mental health side, and we absolutely refer that way. But what is it that tradies it prevents them from getting business support? Is it that they're worried they're going to be told they're wrong, or what?
I've got no idea. I don't know why trades-based business owners don't reach out for help. Dan and I have been reaching out for help since the day we conceptualized our business idea, and I don't actually know many other sectors that it's like that. And I think the reason is that most, and this is going to sound fucking stupid, but most people that get into building companies have got no idea about business. Zero idea, right? But for some reason, they think they should know just because they're a good tradesperson. And it's like they feel as though they can't reach out for help because other people are going to judge them. And that's complete bullshit because I've never reached out and got help from someone and then been like, oh, how do you not know that? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's baffling actually, and it's really frustrating. And it's like, yeah, the only way you can learn is by asking and educating yourself, because the beautiful thing about business is people have made all the mistakes before. If you reach out and ask them, they're going to tell you how not to make those mistakes. So there's only upside. I've never heard of anyone reaching out to get support in business and ever said it was a negative thing. So, yeah, it's a strange one. Don't know why it's like that. But yep, I mean, if business owners out there want to keep bludgeoning their head against a wall trying to figure something out on their own, best of luck to you. But I mean, yeah, I've never operated like that. Dan's never operated like that. And we're very fortunate to sort of, yeah, lead by example there, I suppose, because yeah, the other thing too is hiring people that are smarter than you. Like just get fucking smart people to come to business. I don't know what the idea is of hiring someone that's dumb and paying the money. It's like, Jesus, like it doesn't, all those sorts of things just drive me insane. So yeah, it's like, put your hand up, ask for help, reach out. There's people that have made the stuff up before. It's all right. So
yeah, and it's a bit of the put your ego on the shelf kind of a thing. And you know, I think ego is looked at as a bad thing, but it's there to protect us. We're in our industry, it seems that anytime, and I see the physiological response in people on the screen or in person when I use the word ego, I'm like, fucking hell, you really see that as such a negative thing, but it exists inside you to protect you. But sometimes you got to just say, thanks, ego, I'm just going to put you over on the shelf there because I need to get out of my own way here to get some help. And like you said, the people have made the mistakes before, and we always hear, and it frustrates the shit out of me, people come into a group and they go, oh, fucking hell, I thought I was the only one that felt like this, but there's another 15 of you on the screen and you're all saying the same shit I've been thinking for the last 5 years in business. And you go, no shit, Sherlock, come on.
You're kidding. Yeah, you think you're the only one going through it and you're a failure because that's you're going through that. It's like, man. And that's the other thing. Like, I mean, yeah, like if for some God knows reason we'd ever have to go back and start get on the trades, become get in a building business or whatever. I mean, the first thing I'd be setting up is a group of other building businesses that I'm like, righto, everyone that's quoting, it's like, if you can't do a quote, you pass that quote to me, and vice versa. It's like, let's all just work collectively together around, leads, basically. I think that's even like a no-brainer. It's just like, do that as a start. If that works, well, then ask how each other's running each other's businesses and just figure it all out, because the white knuckling idea is just insane to me. I don't get it. Yeah.
Oh, mate, you're speaking my language. And we run a program called Legend Status for groups, and it does exactly that. They're like, anyone done this before? Can you share it? Anyone done that before? Can you share it? And just makes things so much easier. And they grow. They, not that it's all about growth, but they are profitable more quickly because they've just gone, well, shit, this is just the path of least resistance to get help from others. And it helps their headspace too. So that's the other thing is it's you don't feel alone anymore. And I love that you'll never walk alone, which was Dan's beautiful mate's thing. So and we just don't want that. It's just the thing that I'm super passionate about and why I wanted to talk to you, especially because it's, well, how do we help more people in business to bloody get more help overall, like not just with mental health, business, but relationships. Like, far out. Why don't we use relationship counselling more often than we do in society to just go and bloody check yourselves in? And
I don't know. That's been one of the most beneficial things my wife and I've done. I mean, we've done counselling before we even got married, and it's just like, you talk to couples and you're just like, fuck, all of these little niggly things that are going on, they're all very easy fixes. You just need the tools to go and do it. And it's the same thing, but it's frustrating, but the only thing you can do is just continue to like talk about it. And the people that are ready will then reach out. Do you know what I mean? So it's just always
so true. And that's it. Businesses like ours, both, it's just, you hear, I always say it's like netball, here if you need.
Yeah.
Come over and we're here for you when you're ready. to take that step. And I guess in that mental health space, my biggest concern is always that we'll be too late. And that's why I love the early intervention and people talking about their struggles and owning them and talking to other people about it, like you guys advocate, is just going to close that gap. I do hope so. Well, it is. It's already working beautifully. So you have, I was listening to a few of your podcast episodes, which are a very good laugh. I enjoyed immensely. You've got what you call a rock in your sock. We call this a pebble in your shoe. So same sort of concept. Basically, it is, the things that are kind of grind your gears. And what do you think's the number one thing with the situation in the trades industry that kind of grind your gears a little bit, or that you feel hopeful for, perhaps on the other hand, if we go to the positive? And what ideas have you got for solving it?
Yeah, it's a complex one. I suppose the big thing for us is, I've already touched on it really, is just getting leaders to basically stand up and talk it through. Like little carpentry businesses or, trades businesses, they're small, tight-knit teams, but it's being open and honest and transparent about what trade business owners have gone through or going through and how they've helped themselves. And just so that apprentice, like looking back on my apprenticeship, like there were days there I was like, geez, I could really do with a day just off and home. But, the fear of, I can't ask my boss for time off, or the fear of, being transparent around struggles, because it's like, they need me, and they're not taking any time off, and they're never talking about having issues. So it must just be me, and all that sort of bullshit, basically. So, trying to lead by example is just is the biggest thing for us, I think. Getting business owners to start doing that.
Yeah. So true. And showing that, like we said earlier, nobody's bulletproof. And I think that's the thing. Even reflecting on my own recent experiences, I'm like, fuck, I honestly was convincing myself, and I'm an ex-nurse, so I'm very au fait with mental health. I've worked in it, I've seen it, but I did not see it in myself. And I was like, that's been very confronting for me, because I'm really good at spotting it in others, but apparently I'm really fucking shit at seeing it in myself.
Can happen.
Yeah, that's right. And it's about recognizing that, well, just because you don't have this going on, you don't have that going on, it doesn't mean that there aren't struggles. And being transparent and asking when you need support. But also, if you're seeing something, don't be too shit scared to point it out. And we're very proud that we have actively prevented multiple suicides at Ladies with Tradies. And I know with the support of businesses like yours, we can, help people be really, really well, not just kind of okay.
That's great.
So, it's really, I'm excited for everything that you guys do and the opportunity that businesses like ours have to just mobilize communities in our industry and do good shit to make people feel happier. And our new motto, which is just about to be relaunched or launched, is work in the trade, live in the life, and not, just slogging your guts out for getting nowhere and being miserable. So it's really exciting stuff.
Love it.
Any other last pearls for us, Ed, before we part?
No, Kat, I just think, just anyone that's listening that wants to reach out to TIACS and have a yarn, it's 0488 469 88, and Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So feel free to reach out and have a chat and start your journey with us. Today. Be great.
Beautiful. And likewise, if you got shit going on in business and you know that that's knocking your headspace around, we're here for you too. And like the Trademutt saying, you won't walk alone. So get around it, get around each other, start talking. If you're a business leader, please open your mouth and let people know your experiences, past, present, and support them for future, so that everybody can have a grand old time in our industry, which we know can be pretty tough at times. So I think if there's any industry that needs to stand up, it's ours. So thanks so much, Ed. Been grouse to have a chat to you. Send our love to Dan as well, and a big congratulations on what you guys are achieving. And yeah, we'll certainly, if required, not that you ever want that for anybody, we'll be sending everybody your way. So
Appreciate it.
very
Thanks,
much.
guys.
Chat again soon, mate. Cheers.
Take care. See ya.
That's our episode for today. Thanks for listening, guys. Make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and tell all your tradie mates about us so we can help as many of you guys as possible to live a great life. Also, don't forget to hit us up on our socials at Facebook and Instagram on Ladies with Tradies. We'd love to see you there.